If you guys need any cards, packs, sleeves, anything of that nature, shop on TCG Player using my affiliate link in the description. What's good, YouTube? I'm coming at you with some absolutely massive and unexpected good news today, which is that Dueling Book has added an Edison Format rated pool, as well as, of course, there's I think over here, an Edison Format unrated pool as well. So, yeah, it's creating specialized pools for Edison Format matchmaking is just like the absolute holy grail of what we wanted for Dueling Book. And I cannot express how happy I am to see that they have implemented this. This was something that no one really thought was ever going to happen, despite the fact that Edison has grown at this point to be many times larger than like GOAT format, let alone these laughable like speed duel, rush duel things that they apparently have over here. But yeah, it just seemed like it wasn't going to happen. And then last night, they just like implemented it. I don't know. I just woke up and people were like, "Yeah, you can go play Edison rated on DV," and that's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna do a video just playing a couple matches in rated. I don't have time today to do like some big stream or whatever. And to be completely real, like I've never played ladder before because it's kind of just not my thing. I prefer like casual settings and tournament settings and like nothing in between that. I don't know. That's just how I am. I'm a man of extremes, but I'll probably play some every now and then, like we are here in today's video. But really, we just got to get this announcement out there that this is something that you can go do. So yeah, just very happy to see this. Thank you so much to the people over at Dueling Book for making this happening. All right, let's jump into the video. Super quick deck profile today. I don't want to ramble too long about it because I've already shown off this deck profile in like a video last week or something. Although the version I played in that video might not have been consistent the whole way through. But this is the reptile list that I am currently on. It's, I've talked about it a lot on the channel. We've done a bunch of videos. It's the Reptilianne Dandy Warrior thing. If you've seen it before, you know what it is. If you haven't, it's a glorious pile. So we're kind of on two of all the threats right now. It's kind of worked out to be the optimal ratio, except one Quickdraw. I don't think this list can really support more than one. We are maxed out on offerings, and the second Ananta and like the third offerings I think have been really, really crucial because we just need more ways to pop our own Gardna. It's like you have this, you have your Anantas, you have your Raikos, and you have Torrential, and I think those are the big ones. You can also Black Rose your own Gardna, which can be quite good, especially if you use Dandy, because then you just search the Voski. But yeah, the Reptile lineup, 2, 2, 3, then 1 and 1 of these. These are kind of the bad ones. Yeah, whatever, you got to play them. Gore's Trag, Dandy, Raikos, no Hamster. I took that out. I mentioned that card sucked completely. I'm not fully like hating on Hamster. Like people really think I just hate Hamster. It's not the case. It's just like in this kind of deck, I don't really think the benefit is that great to playing it. It felt like I was siding out Hamster Book of Moon every match at Orlando, and I was like, I kept wishing that I had friggin' third offerings of the Snake Deity. So that's kind of the changes that we made. But yeah, that's the deck. Let's get into the matches. That's what we're really here for, right? First ever ranked matches on DB that I'm playing. Like I said, just had time for a couple. I'm a graduate student. I can't just take the day off and play card games as much as I might want to. So we played two matches. One was against Quickdraw. The other one was against Gladiator Beast. Again, kind of probably lower rated games we're looking at here, but yeah, that's what it's like when you're starting out. So we won RPS. We go first. I activate Charge, and then we set the turtle. Pro tip, if you activate Charge and you have another set monster in your hand, never set the Raikou. They'll just play like it's Raikou. Like, I don't know. It's really good. Like, they just summon a Dandelion and hit into the turtle and eat 1,700 damage. Seems pretty good. Just like free 1,700 damage right there. And then on top of that, we top deck offerings to the Snake Deity. And it's just like, yes, I'm so glad I upped this card to 3. I'm so glad. It's so good. Like, yes, your opponent could play around it like Icarus, but Blackwing players still play 3 Icarus. It's like there's a good reason. The opponent top decks MST and immediately Typhoons my new set. And I'm just like, yes. I was thinking about doing this in draw phase, but like they have priority. So, they use MST. I hit both back row. Maybe I should hit the Lone Fire. They do have the Book of Moon, which actually they could have just booked the turtle to stop this offerings from going off. It wouldn't really have changed anything. Yeah, it would. It's pretty much identical because like they just save their Lone Fire. Like that's the thing. I guess the difference is that the turtle actually dies here, and I don't have the defensive wall. So actually, they made the better play. I'm pretty sure. Like as weird as it sounds, you would think they actually made the better play. They made the better play. They play super hard at the torrential, maybe, but yeah, they make Stardust, and now I take what 25 more than I would have taken if they had made the cheesy negate the snake deity play. So here I decide we need to get a little bit aggressive. I try to hit into the token so that we could main phase 2 Caius the Titanial, and then only have and then just have like less to deal with. I don't know. I feel like this was just the wrong play. I maybe shouldn't have done this. I like didn't think this play through, but fortunately it just trades with a D prison. So now like, all right, let's set Naga then. Set Naga. They accidentally avarice with 4 monsters in grave, which we've all been there, right? We draw the avarice, we get excited, and then we're like, oh crap, we're actually 1 short. So they hit him with the Stardust. It goes to 0. As you all know, very beneficial for this deck. Zeros still crash in Edison format, which means the Naga can just kill this Stardust for free. Then we go set Compulse, and yeah, they get to resolve Avarice, right? But at this point, I feel like we're pretty much only losing to Heavy Storm, right? That's it. That's like the only way we're losing. We've got Mirror Force Compulse set, so feeling pretty good. We're still up like a full card on their turn. After everything that's happened. So they play pretty hard into this Mirror Force. Like, they could have just prio. I don't know why they didn't use Lone Fire here. I don't know why, because they could have main 2, like, made Drill or something if they had played it the Mirror. I mean, it would have gotten outed by the Compulse, but, you know, from their perspective, that would probably be the better way to do it. We just hit him for 1,000, set the offerings. They go set Dust Tornado. I decide, you know what, let's get this stupid Naga on my field. I'm, like, kind of low on life, and I'm getting, you know, I don't like having it here. I draw second Caius, which is actually pretty bad, because if they are able to run over my Sangan, you know, we don't have a really good play in response to that, but they just top deck a Raikou, so we Caius the monster, and unfortunately, we have 3 reptiles in the grave, which means if I summon this Ananta, we are 100 points short of lethal, which I could do. Like, I could do that just to make them short of BrainCon money, life points. Grave, they can't pay for it, you know, they can't afford it. BrainCon money, someone make that into a meme. Anyway, so we get our Sangan search. I decide not to drop the Ananta. I think putting them out of BrainCon range is nice, right? But it does have to pop a card in the end phase, which means it's just going to kill itself, because obviously we would rather have the Compulse than the 2400 dude. And even if they have BrainCon, we can just Compulse our guy right back, and then they're on 1 card. So they just draw another set monster, we Caius it, and that's going to be the end of the game. So Ananta not even needing to come down there. Like I said, I could have summoned it last turn just to do damage, but I don't know. Didn't really seem necessary. This hand, I make an interesting play. I decide to hold on to this charge. Now, the reason I do that, first of all, we want to stealth the Raikou. We could charge set Dandelion, and then they hit in, right? And then I go Debris. But I kind of want to Raikou one of these back row first. So I'm thinking we just set this Raikou, and then we saw they were on Dust Tornado last game, which means there's probably like multiple end phase snipey cards that we got to worry about. So I kind of want to bait this charge, which maybe I could have been really cocky and set it right here, but I don't want to do that with a Gores in my hand. So they just summon Sidra, hit in. I don't really know why they sided the Sidra, because I guess it gets over the 2k defender, but is that really why? I mean, you got better ways like Caius of dealing with that. Anyway, we do hit the bottomless trap hole, and we mill Dandelion because we're just that good. So, yeah, actually, I don't even want to go for this Debris play right now. I think I want to get this Gardna into play so I can go for a Vasky follow-up, because I'm thinking I could go for Stardust, but I've seen they were on D prisons, so I don't really want to risk that. I kind of want to just Black Rose the field, summon, what's-her-face, the Vasky. So here I do the play I mentioned where we bluff set the charge, and lucky us, they lose the 50-50 on the Typhoon again, although last time it wasn't really a 50-50. But this time they lose the 50-50, so, you know, fortunate that we actually held on to that charge. Main phase 2, they go set Hamster, set Dimensional Prison, and at this point I'm like, all right, time to go in. We're going to lose that compulsory, yeah, you know, whatever, but we Black Rose the field, we get Vasky to our hand, we have this DD Crow in case there's some kind of top deck avarice, shenanigans, Debris Dragon play, you know, Crow's pretty good, Crow is pretty good. We also have a Gores behind us in case of like Brain or a Caius play, so we're feeling pretty solid. They do set that Raikou, I just set DDV and pass, hopefully, praying that this is not a Dust Tornado. Unfortunately for me, it's just a Book of Moon, so we chain the DDV, we see their hand, we have a Crow to stop that avarice if they do it. I don't even know if I should, because they're under DDV still, so it's just like, yeah, they mill a Morphing Jar, which, that's interesting. I've seen a lot of Morphing Jar today, which is weird, because I only played 2 matches. Spoilers, I guess. So we just go for Quickdraw Dandy. They decide to book. They could have just waited for Drill to come down, maybe, because I probably wouldn't priority with Drill. Like, book is a thing, yeah, but Bottomless Torrential are also things, and that would be really, really, really bad. So they draw Dandy with DDV, which, like, Dandy barely even counts as a DDV hit, right? They just get 2 tokens. They go for the Avarice, and at this point, I do decide to Crow now that we know their other card is just useless, so we're going to flip and make Drill and just like win the game from there. So I Crow it, and they admit defeat. Other match, a bit tougher because we're up against Gladiator Beasts, and we are playing a quick draw kind of dandy deck. You know the deal. Yeah, this is one rough thing about being in the low end of rated. It's probably just going to run into like weird stuff that you're not prepared for. Like, obviously, Glads, no one in the meta plays Glads right now, so I feel like it's a perfectly reasonable meta call to play Reptiles, but it can be an issue. Like, game 1, I think, is kind of hard. It depends what part of your engine you draw, because, like, yeah, you do have the offerings can be insane, right? Offerings can be insane, Ananta can be great. You just have all this removal, you clear their stuff, you win. But sometimes you just draw these awkward hands with too many defensive cards that don't really interact, and you're just, like, sitting there behind Turtle while they go plus a billion. So I decide to go for the Caius. I'm like, all right, you know what? What's the chances they got War Chariot? They have War Chariot. Of course they do. The difference between Glad's opening War Chariot and not opening War Chariot is just so night and day. It's so rough. Now, this situation is really bad. This is really bad, right? I decide to hold this call just hoping they'll go to try to pop it, but then they don't. So I'm like, what the hell? Why didn't they just pop my back row? I guess they just think it's some kind of bluff or whatever. I don't know. They don't pop it, so then we don't get our search. So then they just get back War Chariot, and I'm like, all right, we got to end phase and bring this back. Then they judgment my call, and then the real finisher, I could have prio MST'd here. Why didn't I do that, actually? We would have had a chance, maybe. I mean, yeah, kind of. We actually kind of would have had a chance, I think, if I had done that, but we need both our Raikou and our Ananta to have a chance of playing into this. And unfortunately, they just they yoink our Raikou. So maybe if I had like prio MST'd and hit the War Chariot, I think we would have been in a good spot. I think that's like the only way. But it didn't occur to me to make that play at that time. I probably should have. Just taken the 50-50 because we were in a bad spot. It wouldn't have mattered, actually. They would have top decked a Glad Beast and made Gyzaris. So yeah, there's just nothing we could do this game. There's nothing we could do. We needed to draw like offerings or something. I'm not really sure. Or Vasky. Or we needed them to pop our back row so we could search that Vasky. Game 2, our hand is obviously much better, right? We have 2 like solid beaters. We've got 2 pretty good interaction cards. We have an Ananta to follow up. So, we just have a lot of like different layers of play that we can go. We can use we can special our Sidra, we can use our normal summon, we can drop the Ananta, we have the offerings and the judgment backing it all up, so we're feeling really good here. I decided to just like, maybe he opened War Chariot twice. Like, that's one of the only explanations I can think for why you wouldn't just attack here. But then he just didn't have it, so I'm like, all right. The plan was he would War Chariot, right, and then we'd just summon Sidra and force something else out, but he doesn't have War Chariot, so I'm like, all right. I will go for Card Trooper. We'll get some Reptiles in our grave for this potential Ananta. I considered dropping Ananta right here, and maybe I should have. It would have just like killed a back row, right? And then we also have a second piece of interaction for next turn with the offerings to the Snake Deity. So the opponent goes here for Test Tiger. This isn't too good, right? The Darius is going to tag out, and then it's just going to leave the field, and then that Darius is going to go away. Maybe they should have just gotten Laquari to go for damage. We get a draw off Card Trooper, MST, very good draw. So I decided to tribute the Sidra, force out a back row. Then we go ahead, drop that Evil Dragon Ananta, popping the monster, of course, because, I mean, the game plan is just to kill all the monsters. They draw Cat, which is pretty good. I mean, more than pretty good. Cat's one of their better draws, but we just have offerings to chain here, and that kind of messes them completely up. We go MST in the end phase. Now, I decide to summon this out, and we could just tribute Sidra next turn, maybe. We go for the Mirror Force on this, and as you can see, we're just up a billion now. We managed to grind out the early game, and at that point, Glads just cannot compete. I do play around this being Morphing Jar, so yeah, they scoop it up right there. Next game. Game 3. Can we make it happen? We do draw a pretty solid hand. It could be better, but it could be worse. We do have a kind of dead allure here. Cold Wave is a card that is very strong, but we would like to see in combination with something else, and we don't have that something else just yet. So I decided to just force this right with the Cyber Dragon. They go into the Murmillo, pop our guy. Yeah, that doesn't feel great. Here, they have the cat again. Just like, goddamn, we're getting catted. And I make a pretty significant misplay, I think. I decide to be greedy and wait for them to go for their bestiary to use the bottomless, but because I do that, they can just book their bestie and then go into Geyzars. I can't believe I didn't think about that. That was so dumb. Yeah, whereas if I had done it before, they would have had to like either just let it through or waste their book or something, and then we would have gotten this Raikou. But now we don't get the Raikou. We take 24 to the face. Fortunately, they don't have any kind of setup in their graveyard, so they can't really plus off of this in any meaningful way. They just have to go for like 2 dudes, you know? And we get a pretty bad draw. I mean, we can't catch a break here in terms of finding an allure target. So I'm just like, all right, hopefully Mirror Force is enough. Hopefully Mirror Force is enough. Fortunately, they play into it. I understand why they don't go for the Test Tiger, right? Because that plays into Torrential, but like even worse because you're committing a whole ass another card. But obviously we would have been owned if they had decided to do that. Or at least we would have had to deal with something else. We do not Torrential right after that. We're just like finding all the power trap answers to stuff. So they decide not to flip up the Morphing Jar. Of course, I set my whole hand because I'm like, well, it's either Hoplomus or it's Morphing Jar. We've seen the Morphing Jar, I think, once before at this point. I forget. Yeah, we saw him that last game, so we've seen it. Finally, I'm like, we can resolve this stupid Allure of Darkness that's been in my hand this entire game, and I just haven't been able to draw a Dark Monster. I play like 10 Dark Monsters. We just set it all. I think... okay, we go for Torrential, which was pretty greedy. I think I had a read that they just didn't have Road because, oh yeah, because of like the Mirror Force. So we just go for that Torrential. We've gotten some serious value out of these power traps, both going 2 for 1. Now we go for that charge, and we mill a Reptile. So I decide to actually just call it back so we have the offerings to disrupt their play. Which they don't go for the Test Tiger here. Definitely smart conserving cards into our back row. And now we go for the offerings knowing that that Starlight is not there, right? We've seen it multiple times now that they don't have it. So we just kill 2 cards, hit a Shrink, hit a Murmillo, get a Search. Man, offerings on the turtle is just so good. It's so good. It's Icarus attack, but you just get a Search also. Like, that's insane. We draw into Scylla. At this point, I'm thinking, like, do I really want to play into Torrential right now when I'm up this many cards? And I actually just decide not to. We could Cold Wave, right? But I don't really want to Cold Wave until we have, like, a serious play. Speaking of which, I just Cold Wave next turn because I'm like, all right, tired of waiting around. I'm seriously tired of waiting around. Like, we need to do something while we're in the driver's seat of this game. We don't want to get grinded out somehow by some good top decks or whatever. So I decide we can just make Nitro Warrior, or I think I actually make Junk Archer, so we can try to go for game next turn, provided we have Solemn to stop one of these back row, right? So unless they're both Battle Tricks, I think we should just win next turn, because they set a monster or whatever, and then we just, they can't set that Waboku, right, because of Cold Wave. So even if they set a monster, we can just banish it, attack with both, and we have 1 Judgment to stop. So hopefully that'll just be enough to win the game. If it is Mirror Force, we definitely Judgment for sure. We do Judgment the Mirror Force, and then the other one is a Bottomless Trap Hole. They couldn't set the Waboku. They could have set Test Tiger, but it wouldn't have mattered because we could just Caius it or Junk Archer it, probably Junk Archer it to play around Torrential. And that is going to be it. So we do manage to win the post-board matches against Glad Beasts. I mean, Glad Beasts is a weird one, right? Because every deck is just playing, like, multiple cards in their main that kind of suck, like Gores and Trap Dust Shoot. It's kind of like, it's kind of analogous to playing Flunder in Master Duel. I know this is it's a reference a lot of you boomers might not catch, but yeah, it's like that. It's just bricks a lot of main deck cards that are very common, but I think the deck is quite bad into, like, Hero Beat, Blackwing being the meta. It's not even that good against modern Frog builds, honestly. So I don't want to turn this into another Glad Beast hate fest, but you all know I despise this deck, so we got to take some time to shit on it right now at the end of the video. Yeah, those are the first couple rated games I've played. Just those 2 so far. I had a pretty good experience. No judge calls or whatever. I'm sure that'll be a thing somewhere. Someone will have to deal with, but not me. So yeah, I encourage you to go Check out the rated pool. Again, very glad that DB decided to implement this, and that's going to be it for the video today. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Are you happy about the implementation of Edison Format ranked? I know I am. And I'm going to see you in the next one. Peace out, YouTube. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Furthermore, if you enjoy my content, you should think about becoming a channel member. You get access to tons of bonus content, and it's a great way to help support the channel.